So the reason why I asked that question is because all of these different things that you have all stated, they all seem to be things where we can view ourselves quite negatively sometimes, or we may think or feel quite negative emotions. And this does directly impact our confidence levels. So, according to Bandura's self-efficacy theory, there are 4 different things that impact our confidence levels. So, the first one is how we feel physically and emotionally. So, just thinking about all your different answers to the previous question, when we always say all these negative things to ourselves or have these negative thoughts and negative feelings, this can negatively impact how we feel both physically and emotionally. And as a result, when we have more negative emotions and I guess bodily sensations, this causes our confidence to feel knocked, to become knocked. And because of this, we may find ourselves losing that confidence, losing that motivation, etc. The next one is the fact that we can learn from our role models. So what we mean by this is that throughout our lives, we have different role models. And for example, many people look up to their parents or to their teachers or someone, even their managers. So just someone who they feel that they can learn a lot from. And sometimes when our role models are achieving things or doing things, we learn from them and we see how they do those things, and that builds our confidence. Whereas sometimes if we see that a role model has maybe they're going through a really difficult time at the moment, that could also knock your confidence. So for example, perhaps we have a parent who we really, really looked up to, and maybe because they've found themselves in a really, really difficult situation regards their work, or maybe they've been placed or made redundant or been furloughed, and they're really, really struggling with that. And if we see that they are struggling with that, that could introduce worry and fear into us, and that could make us lack confidence. So also just being able to understand ourselves and see, where is this lack of confidence coming from? The next thing is mastery experiences. So these are all our past achievements as well as failures. So if we remind ourselves of all our past achievements that we've carried out, then this really actually builds our confidence, because we remind ourselves of all those achievements that we've carried out, all those skills, those experiences, those positive outcomes that we've had. Whereas if we focus on only the things that didn't go so well in our lives, that we may view as failures, then this could really knock down our confidence. So perhaps many of you could possibly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, could possibly be feeling that at the moment, because of this difficult time regards your employment, perhaps viewing that as a failure or viewing that as something that isn't going so well. And that's a really natural thing to feel. And because of that, having a knock in your confidence because of maybe being redundant or being made furloughed or losing your job. So again, it's just really focusing on those different past experiences that we may have. And the final one is influencing and learning from others. So a lot of the time, if someone says a really, really good comment to you, such as, well done, you've done such an amazing job, then your confidence would increase. Whereas if someone kept knocking you down, or if someone kept saying you can't do this, you're incapable, why did you even bother with this, then our confidence levels would automatically decrease. And that's why it's really, really important. So according to Bandura, again, who is a psychologist, he identified that these 4 different things do impact our confidence levels. And just think about how each of these 4 different components and the current situation relate. Are there any interactions between them in how these are impacting your confidence levels? And just thinking about this last component that I spoke about, influencing and learning from others, especially if we are finding ourselves at the moment, perhaps if we've lost a job, if we have been made redundant, if we have been furloughed, or if we are constantly applying for jobs and getting rejections or not even having an answer back, all of these things could be viewed as, I guess, a negative saying from someone else to us. They could all feel like a kick in the face, or they could feel like a rejection. That could definitely negatively impact our confidence levels if we feel like we are constantly rejected by other people. And on that note, the next slide is actually covering, I guess, the notion of rejection. And I just want to ask everyone here, if you please feel free to write in the chat box. The first question, if you could answer, please, are what are your experiences of job-related rejection? And again, I know these are really personal questions, but what we do put in the chat box could definitely be really helpful for all of us, and also show that we are not alone in this. And again, please only write what you feel comfortable with.
Okay, we have one response. Having responsibility of mortgage and rent beyond the pandemic. Physical sensations, crying, stomach pain. However, constructive, genuine feedback is always great when you get it and you can learn from it and improve. And we have one more. One of my best friends just got fired from his job and has been applying for 10 jobs a day and has had only 2 replies in the last month. Both of those were rejections. The rest just haven't even applied at all. I hear that quite a lot. Fear is a big factor. I have low confidence.
Definitely. So again, if we feel that we've lost, or if we feel that we have been rejected by our jobs, by the sector that we work in, by our employers, or we may even just feel rejected by society. So I remember one of the participants stated that they feel like they don't belong anywhere at the moment. They don't feel like they fit in anywhere. And, that's definitely a huge, relation to that feeling of rejection. And knowing that we also have all these responsibilities, such as a mortgage, such as paying rent or bills, etc., or even food shopping, whatever it may be, knowing that we have all of these responsibilities, even though we're currently in a really, really difficult place regards our employment, could be really, really overwhelming. And again, it's just thinking about how much rejection, I guess, we have experienced and how we deal with that rejection. So definitely the fact that one of your friends did just get fired and isn't even being offered any jobs, and it's just rejection after rejection, that can definitely instill fear of rejection, fear of the next email is probably another rejection. When am I going to get a job? Or fear of thinking, what's going to happen next? Will I be able to even cope with this for a certain amount of time? And I guess the next question for you all then is, can you relate to the feeling of fear of rejection? So although you may feel like you've experienced rejection, do you feel that there's that feeling of fear in relation to that? Please again write your answers in the chat box.
While we're waiting on some comments, there's just one last comment. It's quite stressful to pretend to others that things are fine when they aren't. There's a fear of potential rejection if they knew more about how I was feeling or what my situation really was.
Most definitely. So there's also that feeling of being worried about what others could think, or being rejected by others because they know possibly that you have lost your job, or they know that you have been rejected. And that's a really, really daunting feeling to have. And it's really understandable to feel so stressed because of that.
In terms of fear, someone has said fear, ? Terror is more accurate.
Definitely. And, you know, terror is such a big word. And if you feel comfortable to, please share more. That's, you know, how do you feel terror, or why do you think you feel terror regards rejection? But please don't feel pressured to answer if you don't want to.